Good morning, traders. Today is January the 14th. My name is Neville Hornsey, market analyst YouTrading, and today we're looking at the USDCAD. Okay, as always, I want to start with the YouTrading.com Forex heat map. We can see here that the Canadian dollar is pretty much green across the board, apart from against the yuan. The USD is weaker, as it has been for most of this week, and it's slightly stronger than the Swiss franc and the Aussie and New Zealand dollar at the moment. But if we were to look at the chart of the DXY, we could see that the dollar has been depreciating against these pairs for some time now. If we go to Active Trader platform, click on the left-hand side, look for the sentiment indicator, we can see that dollar CAD, 87% of traders on this platform are trying to go long. And similarly, 87% of traders on this platform are trying to short Brent. Unfortunately for them, the price action seems to be going in the opposite direction to which they, the way they want to trade. So if we just take a long-term look at this, if I go to weekly, we've got obviously a serious amount of resistance up around 1.46. That was tested in 2016 and again in 2020. And we've also got serious support down at 1.2. We're obviously nearer to the support, so the momentum is, from this high to this low, looking like it actually wants to come back down to test these lows rather than go all the way back up there. So for me, looking to see if we can break through this trend line. The trend line goes through the swing low of May 21 and also October 21. Like I said, if we come down here, there's going to be some sell stops which either get triggered or add to the actual momentum to the downside if there are breakout traders down there, which then we start to look for the 1.1. Looking at Brent, we have got a significant swing high from October again, and some significant swing lows from December and August. So, the Brent at the moment is making higher highs and higher lows. Momentum is to the upside on the daily chart. The 20, the 50, and the 200 EMAs are all stacked bullishly. The 20 and the 50 are showing that there's increasing momentum. Obviously, the price action itself is stair-stepping higher, and the buy stops up here. If we were to go to a weekly chart, if they get sort of taken, then we're above all the known prices on this particular contract. But I know that there'd be $90 and then $100, some old support to go and test, see if it's resistant. So currently, I think oil is going higher. I'm not sure how long, obviously once we get above this swing higher, they might just be collecting the liquidity before coming lower. If we were to go to a chart of the US crude oil inventories, as of last week, it says that, there's been a reduction in the amount of oil stocks. That is obviously bullish for oil, and that could be leading the price higher. The trend is obviously to the downside. And if we then go to the EIA, which gave us this information, in their latest short-term energy outlook, they're expecting the regular gasoline retail prices to average at $3.06 a gallon in 2022, which is up from the $3 in 2021. But their long-term prediction is for prices to come down. This is because they predict demand will also fall. We go to a report on oilprice.com. They obviously use that data from the EIA, from their short-term energy outlook. They sort of go through how they believe 80 to sort of 85 is like current prices that we should be expecting. But Goldman in this report says their Brent crude prices for the first quarter of 2022 is around 85. And if we go to, that's basically where we are now. But for them, Iranian returns now looks increasingly unlikely. And without Iranian exports, we could be looking at $95 oil. So for them, Goldman Sachs is looking for higher prices based on the lack of supply probably coming out of Iran. Obviously, we've also got oil production set to jump by 5.5 million barrels per day in 2022. And that's going to be driven by the US, OPEC, and Russia. Unfortunately, the sort of dealings in the Ukraine and around those area is likely to be around land, oil, and energy in general. So the US might be looking to take some market share from Russia. Who knows? But I'd imagine that's a lot of the talks over this week were based around that. If inventories do sort of start to increase, then that would be showing that there's either a lack of demand as predicted or oversupply. So at the moment, everything's pointing towards higher prices in Brent and WTI, which means that dollar CAD should come lower as Canadian dollar appreciates. So if we go to a 4-hour chart on dollar CAD, how could we sort of jump in on this trend? Well, we've just taken out on that H4 chart a swing low, which was basically testing a swing high before. They came down, they looked below, and they've found some support, like I said, around the 1.248. That to me suggests that we could be seeing a bit of a bounce today. If we do get a bit of a bounce in dollar CAD, maybe a bit of a relief rally, people taking profits ahead of the weekend, I'll be looking to sort of see a move back up towards the 1.262. At which point, this old support I'm hoping will become resistance, and then I get a better sort of entry for a short, to come down and test this area down here. So this is the sort of area of importance for me between 1.229 to 1.24. So this balance area is where I think price is going to, gravitate towards. Then, depending on the sort of fundamentals, whether or not we get more buying there or people just puke the position. But for me, we want to sort of reduce risk to reward. So if we get back up to this level here, then we can take a short, which means we can look for a rejection of this level, and then we can use the most recent swing high as our stop level. And then we're just looking for a risk to reward of at least 1 to 2. So that takes us back to below this swing low here. Or, we might even get a good 1 to 3 if we come and test into the middle of this range here. That's my long-term, that's my idea for next week, essentially. Obviously, if we just get a continuation lower, then a breakout down here. If that just disappears, then we're looking at these swing lows here just for a short intraday scalp. All right, hope that makes sense, and I'll speak to you again next week.